friends, it's now Monday morning and I'm still doing this. That's your explanation for why I'm wearing different clothes now. Let us continue. Oh, that's labelled. That's nice. Gold spot, quilting cotton, probably not 1940s suitable, but it's still going in the workwear pile, because that's going to be workwear. I don't think I actually have enough of this to make anything, but I saw it and I really, really wanted it because it's got like ridiculous Americana animals all over it, including horses, which I love. We're just going to put this over here for now. It's staying, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. Similarly this, it's got little bears with honey pots, and it's not even half a metre, so I have no clue what I'm doing with it. I guess it stays. This is a random fat quarter in a colour I don't really like, so I think that can go. This, on the other hand, is actually quite nice and a good stripe, and I think this can go into my workwear pile. Why are these folded together? Mysteries of the universe. So I made a dress out of this fabric, which has got ponies on it. I made a dress out of this, and this is the leftovers, and I have no idea what I thought I was going to do with them. So I guess that could probably go, but it's got ponies on it. Solid maybe. Oh, in the middle of the night I remembered that I put this in the maybe pile because I didn't know what I was going to make out of it. I now know what I'm going to make out of it. This is going to be... Adelaide canonically wears a green brocade corset, but the one I have is garbage. So I can make myself a green brocade corset out of this, and I will sweat horribly because it's polyester, but what's new? So that stays. Old blue cotton sheets. Definitely stay. Mock-up material, lining. A world of adventures. Ooh. So I think it's lining material again, but it's silk. It feels sturdier than the other silk lining stuff that I had. It's not see-through, and it's a great colour. I shouldn't put more silk in the workwear pile. And yet. We'll just go with a keep on that one. Definitely, like, there's loads of it. I'll find something to do. Well, I remember why I originally bought this fabric, and it was a long time ago. I originally bought this fabric, which I've cut into. What did I make out of it? It wasn't my pocket hoops, because so I had the same fabric but in green, and when they arrived I didn't like them very much, and I liked the green even less, so I made a pair of 18th century pocket hoops out of them. And I've cut into this at some point, but I've no idea what I made out of it. It's just a regular... It was a vintage cotton, so it's not like a quilting cotton. It's a bit more clothing-esque. I guess workwear, but I don't like it that much. I wanted to make 18th century projects out of both of them because with the stripe and the floral pattern, it felt right. I'm now looking at it and going, that's a pretty good, like, 30s print. I'm gonna maybe that, because it seems really practical and I feel like I can make something I liked out of it, but also if I don't like the fabric in the first place, why bother? So I have a blouse that is basically this exact fabric. And I really like this blouse, except that it's got tiny ruffles either side of the button stand, and I hate those tiny ruffles. I hate those tiny ruffles so much. They never sit right, they're always crumpled up over the buttons so you can just see the back side of the fabric and it looks really ugly, and they've just got overlocked edges. I hate it. I think I got this thinking I would make a matching skirt or something. I'm actually thinking now that I might take that blouse apart and maybe use this fabric and make a dress out of it. I don't. Either way, I like the giant blue polka dots. That's a thing that I'm here for. This blue gives me life. It's a good fabric. I think I'm going to keep it. I'm not 100%. I'm doing the same plan I had before. Cool. What else have I got? Ha! This. This is what was left over from the dress that became Mariana's original Regenesis kit. There's not a lot of it, but it's a really heavy wool. And I have vague memories that this was quite expensive when I got a roll end, so I got quite a lot for comparatively little, and it was still really expensive because it's boiled wool. Why did I keep this? It wasn't for repairs, because that just never happens. I don't understand the people who hang on to bits of fabric of dresses they've already made in case they need to repair it someday. As a LARPer, I put my clothes through way more than most historical costumers, and I've never done the kind of damage where I'm like, oh, need to use extra fabric to repair this. Like, never. I slid down banks and rolled in mud and hidden in bushes and dived through brambles and all. It's just never happened. So I don't think I'm ever going to have to repair that dress. But I, again, really love this colour. And there's probably enough here for like a Spencer, or I can make a hood. Oh, I bet there's enough left for a hood. I don't have any hoods. That's like a medieval staple that I just don't have. That stays. This cotton, it's got bits all over it. This cotton, of which there's like 3 meters, I was going to make a corset and a bustle, like a cage bustle, out of this. And I think I still will. Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. That can stay. Little tiny bit of cute fabric. Why do I have this? Was I given this? I might have been given this. It's not big enough to do anything with. Oh snap. Okay. I think I was given this as well, because this isn't the kind of thing that I would buy, and I think it's, yeah, so this is coutil. Coutil is, have I said that right? Never mind. This is coutil, which is the fabric that allegedly corsets are made from. I never had the guts to make a corset. So I never had the guts to make a corset before then. Coutil is really, really heavy, or I should say really, really stiff. It doesn't have a lot of... No, heavy is the right word. It's stiff, it's heavy, it's structured. And for the longest time, this is what we thought absolutely all corsets, all proper steel-boned corsets, should be made from. The problem is that increasingly we, as a society, as a community of historical costumers, increasingly we're starting to look at period garments and go, hang on, Victorian corsets aren't boned with steel. Victorian corsets aren't made from coutil. Victorian corsets aren't heavy, stiff, structured garments. They're actually super lightweight and very cleverly cut. And if you are me and basically a ribcage with appendages, you don't need a heavy corset. Problem is that I'm now remembering that coutil is like £40 a metre, especially this stuff with the nice woven brocade pattern on it. I guess it can stay. I don't feel good about it, but I'd also feel really bad throwing it out, because like I said, this was given to me. I think this was actually given to me by my mother. I should probably keep it. Oh man, okay, so I was about to say I think it's polyester, but then I remembered what it is, and it may in fact be silk. Like, this is going to sound so pretentious, but roll with me. When I lived in Japan, we used to go to flea markets, so a lot of the temples would have like a second-hand market once a month. Some antiques, a lot of kimono, like a lot of vintage kimono, all of which were super, super cheap. There were exceptions. I once saw a amazing embroidered wedding kimono, and they wanted 100,000 yen for it, which is... no, 10,000 yen. They wanted 10,000 yen for it, which was like $100, and I was, at the time, and I was like, that's outrageous, I can't possibly spend that. I should have bought it. It was so beautiful. It was worth thousands of pounds, and it's so beautiful, and I didn't buy it because it was $100. But anyway, if I ever go back to Japan, I'm not a broke student anymore. Maybe it's not changed. It's probably changed. You would get people who had literally brought a tarpaulin and they piled all the kimono and obi and rubbish in the middle, and you got given a plastic bag, and you could fill the plastic bag for 500 yen. Or sometimes less. Sometimes more. and there'd be like 7 other people rummaging through this giant pile with you, and being very polite about like not actually fighting over stuff, but they were definitely going to get to the good stuff before you did. There were a couple of times where I got bags full of stuff that had some really good stuff in it, and then had some stuff in it which I grabbed going, yes, I love this, and not looked at it properly. This was one of those times, because I grabbed this thinking it was a kimono and was super excited because it's black and white stripes and I love black and white stripes. And then it was actually a... how do you describe a Michiyuki to people who've never seen one before? It's like a house coat. So it goes over your kimono to keep it clean, and it's kind of got a square cut neckline and buttons. So this was one of those, and I really hate them. I hate the way they look, I hate the cut. It's not something I enjoy at all. I unpicked it, it's now in pieces. I should make something out of it. I should make workwear out of it. Yes, stripes are business. Business stripes. I love this new memory card. I'm still going. I've no idea how I'm still going, but I'm still going. Remember I said that I had some... when I held up the grey silk and said that I wanted to make a party coloured gown? This was the fabric I was thinking of. I'm pretty sure I originally got this with a Victorian project in mind. A polonaise or a draped overskirt of some kind. I don't think I want to make that anymore, and I'm not sure if I want to make the party coloured gown anymore because I am not playing that character because that system was rubbish. But Empire colours are red and grey, so that might actually still be on. And I do have, so I didn't have as much of that grey Dupioni as I thought, but I do have the like super lightweight grey lining silk, and I think once everything's lined with linen, which it would be anyway, that wouldn't make... I'm talking around in circles. Basically, this is staying. This is fine. It stays. Yuck. No. So that's why I hate Chinese brocade. Problem is this is not garbage. The butterflies are actually really nice. I could plausibly get away with using that, and there's a decent amount of it. Whatever. This is useless. Actually useless. No, wait. It's so small that I can only use it for contrast accents, which wouldn't be useful except that I am making a green fancy ass jacket, so contrast accents of satin would actually work really well. God damn it. Okay, it stays. Aww, we have some tiny bits of purple cotton velvet. These are left over from my cosplay days when I made... No, you know what, I'm not ready to tell you all about my dark cosplay past. Needless to say, I made a big purple cloak, and at some point you'll probably figure out which character that is. But this is left over from that, and I have very fond memories of it, and I can also probably use that for G's jacket, because in Waking Nightmare the colour of the government is purple. Ooh. So I remember I got 2 pieces of this fabric. This one, and then one with red flowers. And the one with red flowers became my 18th century stays, which I have no idea if they still fit me. I haven't worn them in years. I should probably test that. It's really, it's a very heavy fabric and there's not a lot of it, which means that if I was making another pair of stays, which I think is what I was thinking of when I got it, they'd be great, but do I need another pair of stays? I could probably do with a pair that aren't... my existing ones are front and back lacing. I could do with a pair that's closed in the front, just because I could. Don't question these things, okay? You obviously need multiple sets of stays. But I don't have any reason to wear 18th century clothing at the moment, because there's only been one 18th century LARP game and I didn't want to play it. That's a lie. I did want to play it just so I could make the costume. I didn't actually want to play the game. Maybe. Is this a tablecloth? know. So this is a vintage cream wool. It's got a little nubbly texture to it. I think it's 100% wool. I don't actually remember. I'd have to burn it to check. From memory, this was quite a big cut, and then I made a 1950s style capelet out of it because I needed a cream cardigan jacket thing of some kind for a 1950s dress that I wore to my brother's wedding. There you go, I remember now. So this has some nice connotations. It's still a decent sized bit of wool. It's cream, which is not the best, but I think I can make it work. And that's going to go in the workwear pile, I think. Yes. Yes, I feel good about putting that in the workwear pile. So, I don't know how much I want to talk about this. This is it's a set. There's little trousers as well. On the one hand, they are gorgeous, and people do keep insisting on writing kit briefs for which this sort of stuff would be perfect. On the other hand, I'm super white, and should I really be wearing stuff like this to play fantasy characters? I think I probably will keep this because nice memories associated with it. I'm not sure if I can cut it up and use it for anything, although that would be more useful than just hanging on to this tiny child-sized outfit. This got accidentally deep. We're just going to put this in the finished objects. Ooh. Okay, that is a piece of that one kimono. I don't know why this is separate, but I'll put it there. This, story time. When I was, I'm gonna say 15, it had become patently obvious to everyone around me that I was not going to be like other children. I was, listening to My Chemical Romance, buying black lipstick. What I now feel is relatively standard teenage stuff, but at the time, certainly my school took a dim view of that. My parents were pretty chill, but my school less so, and my peers really no. I hope that's got better now, but at the time, yeah. Anyway, like most teenagers who start to feel themselves drawn to the darker things in life, I really wanted like a black leather trench coat, because that's what everyone had back then. Only I couldn't have a black leather trench coat because they were really expensive. Like, so expensive. And then one day, my mother came back from, I don't even know where she'd been. Like, I don't actually remember the whole circumstances, but she turned up and produced this coat and said, try this instead. It was single-breasted, velvet collar and cuffs, ankle length on me, fitted beautifully, and was made out of this. This, I feel, really doesn't sell it to you, because at the point that I was given this coat, this wasn't brocade, this was velvet. I wore this coat so much that the pile of the velvet wore off. You can still see it in some of the edges of the seams. There's tiny little bits still here and there. And then when it finally gave up the ghost, I'd literally worn holes in it. I unpicked it. I threw away the crappy lining, but I kept all of the now very worn brocade. Originally I thought I was going to make a pattern out of it, and then I discovered that there was a Vogue coat pattern that was exactly that coat, so that wasn't an issue anymore. And then I thought I'd make something out of this kind of worn and faded gold and black brocade. And I think I still should. I don't know what. Please give me suggestions for something that I could make out of. There's quite a lot of this, but it's all in weird shapes. And because it has holes in it, I can't just make it back into a coat. But this is definitely saying, which means that I now have another box that is emptied, and I can fill it back up again with the stuff I'm definitely keeping. It's day 3 of this. That's right, 3 days. And I'm in my pyjamas because that's how much I care. Oh, we're going to finish this today. It's going to be fine. Well, the good news is this one seems to be all big bits of fabric. This is a couple of meters. Oh no. Well, this box smells funky. That's the other problem with these big plastic boxes, is that if one thing in there is a bit weird, it's going to taint everything else. Apples and barrels. This is a couple of meters of brown velvet, and I originally bought this off someone who was destashing because I was going to make... There's a gown in Patterns of Fashion 3, and I was going to make that in brocade with velvet trimming. But that was for an Empire character that I played for one event and then decided that it wasn't for me. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This feels like more of a lot thing though. Just there's no reason I couldn't wear brown velvet in real life. I think it's going in a keep just because there will come a time where brown velvet will be a really, really good idea, and it's probably like warm. I'm quite ready to put it into workwear though. That might be a step too far. Yeah. No. This is like 3 meters of purple organza, and it's ridiculous. But I'm going to keep it, because it is ridiculous, and I think I'm going to make something really dumb about it. Oh, which me... Okay, so remember these guys from earlier? I had second thoughts about these as well. Partially because the Waking Nightmare jacket that I'm making is supposed to have a purple sash, and maybe purple details as well. Additionally, I've just pulled out that purple organza, which I probably need to have something else to match with, and this is a really, really good match. Those two are going to go in that pile for the moment, and then later we may... I have no idea if the microphone's going to pick that up, but there's pitiful meowing coming from downstairs. Anyway, good, yes. Going to make a thing out of probably the rich purple satin and the purple organza, because purple. Yeah, this needs a wash. Which is going to be problematic, because this is like 5 meters of wool twill. Thing one, I'm going to have to burn test this because I'm not convinced it's real wool. I kind of always had it in my head that it's real wool, but I don't remember, so that's going to have to happen. I have no idea what to make from this. This is one of those weird times where I have so much of it, like so much of it, that I almost have decision paralysis. For ages I was thinking I was going to make it into Edwardian suit, and then I was thinking maybe like a hoopalander, but I think it's actually too stiff for a hoopalander. This is one of those bits of fabric that I've never forgotten about because it's so enormous that it's always been this like block of red inside this box that I've looked at and gone, yeah, I should make something out of that. The most recent thought I had was actually making a winter coat out of it, like a long floor-length winter coat, which is not the worst idea I've ever had. So I think this is going to stay, but I definitely have to do something with it. Is this silk or is it? No, this is synthetic, isn't it? Yeah, there's no way that's silk. So that's synthetic taffeta. I think that can probably go, almost certainly. I'm having second thoughts, maybe par. It's garbage, but I do really like working with synthetic taffeta, so I'm not sure about this. So, remember I was saying that I had a really ambitious project in mind and I'd got all these silks for it and I didn't think I was now going to finish it. This is how far I got with that really ambitious project. A hand-dyed and then hand-painted thing, which looking at it now was not done particularly neatly. But anyway, this was going to be a quilted petticoat, so it wasn't even going to be visible. And it's short because it's going to have a ruffle at the bottom. I don't know how I thought I was going to combine quilting and a ruffle. Don't think I thought that through. But that was going to provide structure for a large gown with an overgown. The cat's still squeaking at me. For basically, this was around about the time that the Hobbit movies were coming out in cinemas. I've never been the biggest Tolkien person in the world, and I was consumed by the fact that Thorin clearly had a sister, so why wasn't she inheriting? If you're about to jump into the comments and explain to me how dwarven inheritance works according to Tolkien, please don't bother. I don't care. I am that guy who honestly never needs to hear about Tolkien again in my entire life. Are you going to sit there and squeak? Are you going to come and say hi? You're going to sit there and squeak. But yeah, so I was overwhelmed by... I just couldn't stop thinking about why the hell isn't there now a queen under the mountain? Like, is she dead? It wouldn't be the first time. Surely that would be so much cooler and more interesting. And what would a female dwarf ruler look like? And of course, because like a lot of people, I think I grew up with the Lord of the Rings movies and the incredible detail and richness that went into all of the costume and set design and all the props and that was still there for the Hobbit movies. So I was reading articles online about how they'd made some of the dwarves' clothes by laser cutting leather into Celtic knotwork shapes and then sandwiching it between two thinner layers of leather so that you had a decorative pattern that only appeared in light and shadow, because relief pattern rather than actually worked into things. Like, really cool stuff like that. And then the movies were really, really disappointing. So yeah, I decided that I was going to make a dwarven queen's costume. And this was what I started with, was the quilted petticoat to go underneath it. And then stuff happened. And I didn't get any further than this. Now, this is not very good. And also those runes at the bottom there are extremely Tolkien specific. I got someone else to translate them for me and then just copied them out. I'm going to have to get someone else to translate them back for me, because yeah, I'm not about that life. However, if everything goes according to plan, I should be playing a dwarf in a system next year, which would be pretty cool. It would be kind of cute to reuse this. And like I said, there's, with some of the other bits, so like that blue silk that I was going to make a boned bodice with an embroidery design on it, I was going to embroider 2 large gold dragons in the style of like Tolkien's illustrations on the original map. I was going to use like gold toned jump rings to do reliefed scales, and there was going to be a lot of like just playing around with texture and really rich colours, and that still sounds like something that would be really exciting to do and really different from anything that I've done so far. And I actually think that, unlike when I started this project more than 5 years ago, I probably actually have the skills now to pull it off. Although I have used many of those fabrics for other purposes now, so... Anyway, that's an extremely long-winded way of saying I think I'm going to keep this for now, but I think if I haven't done anything with it about a year or so, I should get rid of it, because if I don't use it for playing this dwarf, I'm probably never going to use it, so... Horrible synthetic Dupioni. More buckram, this time not stiffened, but still useful. I have in fact used it, so that stays. This is a really cute, like, floral print cotton. It's super soft, and it'd probably be really nice to make something out of. But that colour, it's quite something. Hello, you. We have a cat friend. This is going in the maybes just because I'm not certain that bubblegum pink on sugar pink is quite my speed. I'm pretty sure I got this for doll clothes. Piles are blending together because of how much there is. Hey you. Silks! Oh man, so much silk. I'm slightly dreading actually uploading everything off this SD card because it's just enormous. There's so much stuff on there. Hello Thursday. Hello? I have a very concerned pussycat. This is all very strange. These are you going to get in the box? I like how I sit here and say, yes, this is all, everything left in this box is silk, so this is all expensive fabric, and of course this is what the cat chooses to sit on. There's got to be like 3 or 4 meters of this, and it's a pink and cream check. I'm pretty sure I had an 18th century project in mind for this originally. I'm pretty sure I had an 18th century project in mind for this originally. That might still happen. This is really hard to do when the cat's just like savaging stuff. No. Okay. Alright. He was a good boy. Yeah. I was about to pick that up and talk about it. Could you not? Come on. This stuff! Yes, this was originally, I think, I had an 18th century project in mind, but not any more details than that. Looking at it now, I think that 18th century could still work, Victorian might work, early Victorian might be interesting. Like everyone and their wife, I've been watching Gentleman Jack, swooning over every Yorkshire lesbian's problematic fave. So this definitely stays. Worst case scenario, I'll make like a cute, kitschy 1950s dress out of it. But I hope I don't do that because I don't think I'd wear it. Historical's probably a better shout. But still, definitely keep pile. So I think this is probably also going in the keep pile, even though I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I think I have like 2 meters of this. An eyeball. It's a really rough silk dupioni, and it's got these tiny pearl beads worked into it. And I think at the time I thought this looked really like cool and luxurious, but the beads are actually really widely spaced, and they're not very nice beads. This I feel is LARP kit. I don't know what. It would be a waste, I think, to just throw it out or even pass it on to someone else. The browny kind of pink that I think you can get away with pretty much anywhere. I'm not even sure if it may not even read as pink on camera because it's that kind of. So I think that's probably going to be like generic, non-system specific LARP kit. Maybe I'll make a surcoat. Ambiguously medieval. These next 2 I have very fond memories of, and I'm excited to work with. Even though I have been excited to work with them for 5 years and not done it. Oh man, this feels much nicer than I remember. I remember this being quite... So I remember this fabric being quite stiff, more like... So this check, I don't know if you can see, it's got quite a... It's very thin and light, but it's got quite a nice hand to it. It holds its shape. And I thought these guys, and I've got 2 cuts in 2 different colours, I thought these guys were basically the same, and they're not. They are super, they're quite flowy and quite soft, which is in some ways good and some ways bad. I think in general for the projects I'm thinking of, I think this is really, really good and makes my life easier. So I've got 2 cuts of this fabric, and I think I've got like 4 or 5 meters of each. So I've got this pink, and then I've got this grey. When I bought these, I think in my head this one... Actually no, I don't know which way around it was. One of them was going to be a bustle dress, and one of them was going to be a crinoline. But there's like 4 or 5 meters of each, so that's not gonna happen. Even when you are my size, that is not enough fabric to do a full crinoline skirt or a full bustle dress just on its own. Having said that, I think that a bus with extra fabric to do contrasts and like the underskirt, I think you could get part of a bustle dress out of one of these, and I'm leaning towards the grey. I think that could be a really different kind of look for Adelaide while still working. So something really quite smart and masculine in the way that Victorian women's wear sometimes is quite masculine and has like suit and military elements to it. But also There's one Gothic game a year, and I've already earmarked like 4 things for Adelaide's dresses, so probably bustle dress. We're going to keep that. This one, if I wanted to make a 1830s, 1840s dress, a la Gentleman Jack, this is probably a significantly better weight. I'm not certain that there's enough of it. My ideal sleeve pattern is kind of excessive. 4 or 5 meters sounds like a good length to do a dress with until you start looking at 1840s and 1830s sleeves, some of which use like 1.5 meters of fabric in each sleeve. I might have to think about that, and probably what I will do is just make more conservative sleeves or do a slightly later style where the sleeves aren't quite as enormous. I have literally nowhere to wear this to and none of the correct undergarments, so that's a slightly pipe dream kind of project. But I don't know, and like maybe I won't do that, maybe something else will come up and I'll be like, aha, it is time for the 5 meters of pink check silk. But the time will come for the 5 meters of pink check silk. This is big enough to do something quite substantial with. Someone might actually announce a Victorian game that's not set in the 1880s at some point, and I might want to play it, so... That was a really long rambling way of saying, obviously I'm keeping this, there was never any question. More silk, this one is probably a taffeta. I don't know if it's quite fine enough to be a taffeta, but it's got a taffeta hand to it. And this is lovely. I've got a couple of meters of this as well. It needs a press. So, I don't think this is enough to make anything with on its own. Especially not a Victorian project where you're doing lots and lots of trims. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I had a lot more of this, I'd have more options. As it is, I'm a little bit constrained. But I'm gonna... I mean, it's staying. It's a substantial enough and nice enough cut of fabric that there's no reason for me to get rid of it. I will find something to do with it. I think I just need to be aware that it's there so I do something with it. So those guys, I almost all, like, they were things that I remembered that I knew that I had, and I knew that I could use them for projects. This, on the other hand, I had completely forgotten it existed. This is a really lovely cream brocade, and I think I've got... It's quite narrow, but I think I've got like a few meters of it. This is silk again. I was about to put it in the workwear pile, but I actually think that keeping it with the other silks, because it's the right kind of cream, it could accent any of those ones that I've pulled out. And that's probably a thing that I actually need in order to make anything practical out of those fabrics there, because I've only got like 3 or 5 meter cuts of them. Yeah, obviously that stays. I'm not 100% on what I'm going to do with it, but I'm glad that I went through this box because I had forgotten it existed. I really need to wash that red wool though, that's problematic. Okay, I seriously have to pick up the pace on this because this is just taking forever. So, this box is going to be exciting. This stuff. So this is some embroidered upholstery material. I've had this a really long time. I think I was going to make like a Tudor 4-part out of it. I think it's unlikely that I will do that, but it's really lovely brightly coloured fabric. And I suspect, yeah, so it's not really a directional print, which I suspect means that I could make a surcoat out of it using my usual trick of doing half the surcoat upside down and up. I'll do a video about that sometime because it's super easy. Yeah, long story short, that stays. Happy with that. This is silk. I'll be honest, I thought that I had 2 cuts of this. There was a 2 meter cut and a 4 meter cut. I thought this was the 4 meter cut that I hadn't used. It's the 2 meter one. Where on earth did I use the 4 meter one? Anyway, yes, white silk project coming up. Definitely need that. Autumn last year, I went on a bit of a shopping spree, which in hindsight was kind of a terrible idea. But basically I thought that this year I was going to be starting 2 outdoor systems that I would keep playing for a long time, and therefore I'd want lots of kit, and also that I'd want to be warm. So I spent a lot of time on eBay looking for wool remnants. And I've got some amazing fabrics out of it, but I've not made anything from them because 1, I didn't go to Empire this year, and 2, the other system that I thought I was going to use a bunch of this stuff for, I played the first game and decided never again. So anyway, but this is a really nice purple wool that I bought from someone who'd wanted to make, I think, a coat. They sold the wool fabric and the coat pattern together, and I think the other wool, which is this one, which I'll be honest is what I was mainly looking at, because this is a purple and green houndstooth check. And I think this is actually cut into pieces because they were going to make like a big loose overcoat out of it. I was thinking of using these 2 wools together and making the undergown in Patterns of Fashion 3 that has a decorative front part, and use this for the decorative front part and the rest for the back part of the gown. Still an option, definitely something that I would wear. I think I'd struggle to find a LARP system that would let me wear purple and lime green houndstooth in character, unironically. But I might make it anyway and just sort of sneak it under a hoopalander. Also earlier this year, my favourite quilting cotton retailer decided they were shutting down, which, you know, like, good for them, positive move for them. Kind of sad because I liked getting stupid fancy cottons from them. But it meant that they were selling off a bunch of stupid fancy cottons for cheap. So there was this one, which has got foxes on it, and I think there's like 3 or 4 meters of this, so that's going to be a dress. Should I put this straight in the workwear pile? Because it's not 1940s appropriate, but it is just going to... It's cotton, so it's for summer. So we won't put it straight in this pile, because then I want to make a dress out of it straight away and I won't wear it. There was also this cotton, which there's slightly less of, but I love it. It's mad. And then there's these 2. So there's this Alice in Wonderland print that I've got a big roll end and a small roll end that's, I think, just under a meter. And then this border print cotton that's got like a riverside scene on it. These 2 were somewhat ambitiously supposed to be Lolita dresses, originally for that one event where I was going to wear Lolita costume, and then I just bought stuff because it turns out it's got way cheaper from the last time I checked. The last time I checked being like 10 years ago. Those I think are going to stay parked until I've established whether or not I definitely am still wearing the fashion regularly. There'd be interesting projects either way. So yeah, like that's gonna... I'm just gonna put those down there. They're gonna stay. They're recent additions. I'm still really excited about using them. If I don't do the Lolita dresses, I will do something else. I like the fabric. This stuff was sold to me as wool, and I'm not convinced that it is, but I also can't prove that it isn't. It has a label which is in German. I need to burn test it. It's quite a decent sized piece, I think it's like 3 meters. It feels like a brushed cotton, but also not quite exactly like a brushed cotton. This one, a bit like the purple, I had a medieval going into Renaissance idea in mind. Not 100% on how I was going to execute that. I'm pretty sure this is the fabric I was thinking of for that really ambitious project with spiral piped sleeves. So where you've got sleeves, but they've got an inset line of piping that spirals around the arm, which I thought that with the checks would be kind of mental. Why, when I was thinking of making kit for Empire, which is kind of like, no disrespect to Empire, but their kit briefs don't exactly embrace quirkiness. And I picked out purple and green houndstooth check and lime green and orange plaid that I was going to do spiral piped sleeves on, and I'm a bad person, is what it comes down to. Oh, I got this from a charity shop, and then I used it as the lining for the silly half cape that I made for a Genesis E4, purely to mess with Jenny. That's a solid maybe. I don't know what fabric composition it is. It's not the best colour in the world. There is quite a lot of it, so it would make good mock-up fabric. Maybe. That's another skirt that I think I bought this as a skirt length that someone had unpicked. That and the other piece of tartan were going to be a half and half surcoat just to mess with people. But I was going to make it reversible. I was going to have like a business side for wearing to Empire and then the double tartan side for wearing to another system. We'll see. It's wool, so if nothing else, it's really, really warm. This is more wool. There's a lot of this one, and it is blanket weight, I think. Oh, I never noticed that before. It's got like numbers embroidered on it. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but I have no idea what that means. I was going to make a big, stupid, like hooded robe thing. I still really like that idea. Possibly one of the most me moves in history is that I've made myself a waterproof wool hooded murder robe, but it's in green plaid because fashion. That stays. There's no way I'm getting rid of that much wool. If nothing else, hell, I could make any number of historical costumes out of that if I don't make LARP kit out of it. Oh dear. Well, starters, that's another silk ruffle. Now have no idea where I put the other silk ruffles. This sad thing, which I have kept purely because it is 100% silk satin, this was my graduation dress. For graduation, you could wear anything you wanted. They recommended that you wear black and white with your robes over the top, but the robes weren't required and cost a lot of money to rent. So I wore this, because I'm a troll. So it's fully silk satin, like I said. It was bodged together at the last minute because I spent a lot of money on fabric and then fully underestimated how long it was going to take to make this dress. It is a 1920s dress from Patterns of Fashion 2? I want to say 2. The one that goes into the 20th century. A sudden interlude because the doorbell rang. I forget what I was, but basically, yes. It's my graduation dress, but also I never wanted to wear it again because it's terribly made. I think I probably still am going to keep this. I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of it, because it's all cut into weird shapes now. I had vague ideas of using it as accents on like a Regency dress. But the second I started making Regency dresses, I determined that I don't really like Regency dresses. Which is problematic, because as multiple people have pointed out, I am the right shape for Regency dresses. Just don't like them very much. Let's continue. This is some weird purple. I think that can probably go. This was for a cosplay project. I can't even explain this. It's like lace. Probably just looks like solid pink from there. It's bonkers, and it's bright pink, and I have absolutely no idea what I would do with that, and yet it makes me happy. Maybe. Oh no. I remember what this is. And I'm gonna have to get it out to show you, and I'm gonna regret getting it out to show you. Maybe it's not too bad? Maybe it's not too bad. So, this is a synthetic stretch velvet with glitter all over it. I don't even know how much of this fabric that I have. 1/2 metre? What on earth am I going to do with 1/2 metre of glittery stretch velvet? And glitter's gone everywhere now. I have had this fabric for 13 years. Part of me almost doesn't want to get rid of it because I've had it for 13 years. But also, what the hell am I going to do with it? That, I think, is going in the maybe pile. And I might need you to talk sense into me later. I wouldn't bother with this, but it is a solid colour. It's probably really useful, so that's going to go in the workwear pile. This probably doesn't need to be in this plastic bag anymore. It's kind of semi-sheer, and it's got an amazing sheen to it that I would normally associate with silk. There's a good couple of meters of that. Yeah, that's going in the workwear pile. I have no idea what I planned to make with that. I suspect I just bought it because it was nice on eBay. Wow, okay. This is from way, way back when I had a go at making my own fake obi, but had failed to grasp the concept of, you know, interfacing, which is why it's like this. The main problem is that this fabric is amazing. Like, I completely understand why I did it with this. It makes me think that there should be more of this somewhere, because I would have needed a band as well as the bow. That's going in the probably stay. No idea what I'll do with it, but I'll figure out something, because it's glorious. That's really pretty, but it's really tiny. No. Oh wow, this was a dress that I cut up. It wasn't even a good dress, it was from Primark. I do like black and white stripes. Maybe. Oh, this is the same fabric as that one there, only the one that I just threw, I tea-dyed, because this was, from memory, kind of lurid. Under normal circumstances, I'd be like, no, I don't need like a meter of kind of lurid pink and white striped cotton. I'm gonna put both of those in the maybe pile now that I've thought of. This was supposed to be part of a dress, again for a cosplay project a long, long time ago. The only reason I've kept it is because it's silk, and the only reason I will continue to keep it is because it's silk. There is enough silk in there to make something out of. This is a little bit sunk cost fallacy. Like, I bought this silk final year of university, so 8 or 9 years ago, and I remember thinking at the time how extortionately expensive it was. And then I never finished this bloody project. So part of me is like, even nearly a decade on, throwing this away would be admitting failure. Giving it away, or otherwise giving up on doing anything with this fabric, would be admitting failure. And there are more scraps of this stuff around. It's a pretty good, matches the wrong word, coordinates really nicely with the pink check silk I was looking at earlier. I think there's mileage in it still. There's definitely enough in here to do accents on a garment. It would be nice not to get rid of this, but I think I should definitely prioritise making something with it. This needs to not be hanging around anymore. Well, if anyone can tell me what I was thinking when I purchased this, it's not even very much of it, it's literally like scarf sized. God, it's awful. Oh no. Oh no, I've had a terrible thought. Oh no, I have to keep this because I know exactly what I'm making out of. So my friends and I have a game coming up next year, which is we're dying horribly in space, and we do this quite a lot, so I've got quite a well-trod path of dying horribly in space. Generally, when dying horribly in space, I play kinda butch gay women. It's just what happens. That is generally what I play. So for this occasion, I wanted to have a go at being someone different. Will is going to be kind of non-binary, but non-binary masculine leaning towards camp. Basically, in my head, I have Jeffree Star. That's what I'm going for. This is exactly the kind of, can't swear in this video, this is exactly the kind of awful, awful thing that Jeffree Star in space would wear. So I guess I'm keeping this. Why am I doing this to myself? I hate working with fake fur. Even making the big cloak out of like the really beautiful, expensive fake fur was such a trial. Well, that stays. Piece of kimono silk that I pressed into a fake collar, but didn't get around to interfacing or finishing. Thing is, again, I really, really like this. That, I think, needs to go in the Adelaide pile. Teeny tiny piece of quilting cotton, which would be super unremarkable, but I bought this in Japan. And I have really fond memories of Japan. That's going to go in the maybe pile. I don't know what the hell I can do with it, but it is really nice. And it's got very personal emotions attached to it for me. Oh, there's more of that fabric. That's interesting. That's still going on the maybe pile because I don't know if I want to wear it. This, on the other hand, is way more my style. Like, I'm here for gentle blue pastel toiles, but also there's only this much. I don't think I can do anything with that much. So that's also going maybe until I can actually think of a thing that I would do with it. A lot of this stuff is really old, so it is like stuff I got to make doll clothes out of. And I don't do that anymore. Okay, this side, fine. This side is the bolt end, which is like this weird artifact of, you normally get how it was made, where it was made, the brand name, how much there is, all done on it in Japanese. And I'm a weirdo and I really love this. This is like my favourite thing. I got really excited when this turned out to be the bolt end. That design I can take or leave. It's got age spotting on it, so it's not in the best condition and whatever, but I just love industrial remnants. Maybe pal. Okay, so this is left over from an 1890s dress that I made for WIP one year. That, I can see why I've kept it as an applique. There is the leftover bits of, this was probably quite a big piece of embroidered polyester satin at the time. I guess Adelaide's getting another dress. There's no classy way of saying this. I guess Adelaide's just getting another dress. It's problematic that I have so much stuff that she can wear. That is the other piece of that fake obi from earlier, so that's good. That's also probably going on a dress of Adelaide's. Remember earlier that I was talking about Japanese kimono overcoats and how I had one in a really nice fabric but didn't want to wear it because I don't like kimono overcoats? This is another one. This is a very dark green with a kind of swirled pattern on it. Keep that. There's some LARP kit in that, no worries. Oh, wow. So this is, I bet it's not very much. Yeah, so that's like a metre of wool suiting. But that's fine. That can go in the workwear pile. There is, this is some leftover bits of the pirate curtains that I had for my house in university. Yes, these are not from childhood. I wanted these aged 20. This is cheating because I'm going to go, yes, I will get rid of this, this is fine. This is the smallest piece of the leftover curtains. There's a whole curtain over there and I know exactly what I'm doing with it. I've had it for like 7 years going, I'm going to make a crinoline out of that and it'll be hilarious. I haven't done it yet, basically because I've never been willing to pony up 60 quid for hoop steel. So I'm getting rid of this, but you should know that the pirate fabric is not gone from my life. Oh man, okay, I do just about remember this. This is another wool remnant that I picked up quite a long time ago actually, and on the one hand it's gorgeous, like this green is so intense and that's really unusual and it is proper wool, but also it's got a weird maker's stamp on it, and this weird maker's stamp has literally paralysed me for years out of making something out of this because I love it and I wanted to do something that would use that stamp somewhere in the design and I've just never been able to think of what. So this is going in the workwear pile. I'm just going to have to figure something out. It's probably a bad time to be wandering around with Union Jacks on you given the current political climate. But I am that person who looks at every single Innocent World release that's got like crowns and Union Jacks and teddy bears and tartan all the hell over it. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. So I'm having mixed feelings on the country in general. I'm totally here for the regalia. Is some fake fur. It's a pretty decent sized bit of fake fur. And it is quite nice. This is I mean, so this isn't an Endless Fallings cloak levels of fake fur. If you have never encountered that cloak, or indeed my cloak made out of the the same brand of fake fur. You just have to take our word for it that it's incredible. This is not that good, but it's pretty good. That's a maybe. 4 more boxes. We can do this. Right, another big one. Oh no. Random blue brocade that I got offloaded onto me from my mother. I don't think I need this anymore. Leftover £1 a metre curtain material that I turned into a Tudor gown. I don't think I need that anymore. Nope. Double nope. Nah. Also no. No. Okay. That was freeing. I had more of this. Where did it go? It went in the maybe pile. This also goes in the maybe pile because, I don't know. I'm not playing Mariana anymore, so when am I going to use it? Oh. I didn't realise I had this much left. I've had this fabric a really, really long time. Like a really long time. Oh no, is this... No, it is. Yes? No. Yes. I genuinely can't remember which bit of embroidered taffeta this is. I've had it so long. I had a dress made out of this, I think. There's quite a lot of it. This is not me making a decision, is it? Keep? I'm going to revisit that because I've had it a while, but also it's really nice. That is a piece of that one pink silk cosplay that, actually from memory, this was the piece that screwed me up because I measured it all out really, really carefully. And then I double-sided this ruffle when I wasn't supposed to, and then I didn't have enough. Gosh, that's a weird blast from the past. Yeah, if I'm keeping the other stuff, I should keep this as well, because I'll be able to reuse it. Then it's a whole host of stuff that I bought last year / early this year, specifically for making into field kit. Not entirely. These two I've had a while. So these guys are kimono bolts, so it's a whole bolt of fabric for making a kimono out of. I don't know why they're still wrapped in plastic, but they have been for a really long time. I really should have unwrapped these sooner because I've had this for years, assuming it was black on white, and I actually think it's navy. So this is a yukata cotton, loads of it, it's stripy, which I love. I was going to make an Edwardian suit out of it, but I don't think that it's the right material. Definitely a lot of it, so that's going to stay, and I'll figure out what I make from that, possibly summer dresses. This, I vaguely remember being synthetic. Oh, it has the old kimono smell, which... I know loads of people hate it, but I don't know what it is. I just really love the old kimono smell. This might be synthetic, I don't know. I always feel this could go in the workwear pile. Like, that would be pretty cool. I can't think of, I mean, I can think of, there's certainly enough of it that I could make LARP kit out of it. It's really exciting. It probably reads as just like a brown stripe from there, but it's got like red and sky blue and some yellow all put through it. Definitely enough for a suit. Workwear. What else? This is a kimono. We're going to leave this wrapped up because once you unwrap kimono they become unwieldy. So this is a kind of plummy colour. It will be silk, and I think I probably bought it because it was very, very cheap and a solid silk with the idea of making LARP kit out of it. So we're just going to chuck that straight in the keep pile until I figure something else to do with it. That one's the same. It was a kimono, no one else wanted it, it was very, very cheap. This one is a single layer wool. Really unattractive wool, but like the other single layer wool kimono I had, I wanted it, I think, to use as lining for other garments that would make them warm. So that stays. This one is, again, a kimono that no one else wanted, but this one's got a lovely gold fan pattern in the silk. So yeah, LARP kit. Possibly even field LARP kit, I don't know. That is some tiny, tiny pieces of silk. Maybe. More of that pink silk, including, I think, uncut remnants. Just try and get that all together. This is suede. I Oh no! Yeah, I got this to make the soles of a pair of slippers that I was going to wear in a convention centre out of. This is old. It's also leather, so we're not going to get rid of it because it'll be good for something, but it's kind of clothing weight suede and I don't know what I'd do with that. This stuff! This is a wool kimono bolt. There's quite a lot of it. If you remember from my Fragile video, I talked about making a gothic fitted gown, but like a short version with dagging around the hem in the style of Morgandonna. This was the patterned wool I was vaguely thinking of when I came up with that. It's really beautiful. It is Empire appropriate colours, more or less, and like rich medieval stuff will always do well by me. It's probably a bit Japanese to pass off as really medieval, but I've only ever played one game with a strictly historical costume brief, and I'm not going back to that one either, so that stays. On the subject of Morgandonna, I should probably unwrap these, but actually let's unwrap. I've never actually touched these wools. I've had them for like 6 months at least, and I've never touched them. Ooh, that's nice. That's like super lightweight. Quite expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting, but not that. And then there's these two, which are both got... Now you're testing me. I don't remember the Japanese name for it, but it's the same technique as iCat. So you print the pattern onto the weft and then you weave it. So you end up with this sort of slightly fuzzy outline stuff. And these both have got this red one and this blue one. Oh wow, the blue one's got like a single gold thread in the selvage and I have no idea why. Anyway, these should both be wools or wool synthetic blends. They've both got a very similar feel to... I was about to say this one's a bit thicker, but I was holding 2 layers. There's a Morgandonna video which is not about this outfit, but she's just wearing this outfit and it's this blue side-laced gown with big wide dagged sleeves and then like a red undergown with quite loose sleeves that are like scrunched up around her wrists underneath. And I watched that video and was like, I want that. And because I was shopping for kimono fabric at the time, I found these guys, which both have... There's a red and there's a blue, and they both have a similar kind of pattern on them. They both got butterflies, they've both got kind of... Again, I can't remember the Japanese word, but the iCat print on it. And I was like, yes, absolutely, I can make this outfit, but also in my style. Now that I'm looking at them, I'm questioning that, but there's a lot of fabric here, so we'll put that in the definitely to keep pile, because it is a definitely to keep. But I'm now questioning whether 2 patterns, and that's quite a pinky red, and I'm not sure I thought this through to quite the degree that I should have before purchasing 2 entire bolts of kimono fabric. On the subject of entire bolts of kimono fabric, this one is silk. Oh man. I mentioned before about how much I love plaid silk. I love plaid silk so much. And this one is spectacular. So in my head, this is like a floor-length coat. I have no idea how I would do, because obviously kimono fabric is so narrow, I have no idea how I would do the big skirts on the floor-length coats that I like making. I might do a pleated skirt, which would use the stripes of the plaid really, really well. Just, it's so beautiful. Moving on, that's definitely going in the keep pile, in case that was ambiguous. And this is random grey suiting. I would assume this is a polyester or a poly blend. It's just like maybe even a cotton. It's really, really dull, but there's loads of it, and I am trying to make more of my own clothes, and a plain grey skirt would actually be... That's a maybe. Maybe pal. Oh wow, yeah, no, I've had this remnant a really long time. And they actually gave me details on the tag, so I don't remember it. So it's a wool blend. There's 1.5 meters of it, kind of loosely woven. I love this, I'm not gonna lie, it's gorgeous. Workwear. This workwear pile is getting to be staggering. Okay, the final thing in here, and I think it is really the final, yeah. I got 4 pieces of this fabric, which I think from a charity shop, and I think someone must have bought them and cut them down intending to turn them into curtains. This fabric's kind of grim, and yet I also sort of love it. It's got a gold brocade pattern through it, and it's also got this check pattern on it, which is chenille. And yeah, there were 4 pieces. I think they were £10 each, and they were like 2.5 to 3 meters long each one, and upholstery width, so substantial. I'm not actually sure how much I've got left. I think this is just 2 cuts, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. I've already made 1 dress out of this, and it's a good dress. I like it. It's pretty good. I had vague ideas that I was going to make something like Tudor-y. I'm not sure if I've got enough left. I feel like I should put it in the maybe pile, but I also feel like I can't be asked to haul out 2 massive cuts of fabric, which is entirely the wrong attitude to be taking to this. I should be genuinely evaluating whether or not I'm going to use stuff. Loads of people keep saying they're going to run a Tudor game, and one day, but law of averages says one day one of them's going to make good, and then I will have a reason to make something out of this. So I'm going to keep it, but I don't feel good about it. We're on to our final pile of boxes. There's only 3 more to go. We can do this. At some point I'll get out of my pyjamas, but I honestly feel like I've had enough costume changes for this whole video. This probably shouldn't have been the box in the middle of this. This should be in the final box, because this box is full of half-finished works in progress. This is going to be the last box. I need to run up to that. This box at least looks fairly straightforward. This is 10 meters of embroidered polyester taffeta. I have no idea what I'm going to make with this, but I'm excited by the idea that I could. It's not the most practical fabric in the world. It's definitely going to be like a fantasy thing, whatever I make with it. But it's actually pretty nice. From memory, I paid £1 a meter for this. Yeah, I feel good about that. This is tiny scraps of embroidered taffeta. I have that big cut of embroidered taffeta. I don't think I need scraps. Scraps can go. That's a tiny piece of cotton. That can go. Look at how sad it is. Why have I not taken better care of this? That's silk satin. I'm going to have fun pressing that out later, but I will use this in the Mystery White Silk project. This is a piece of fabric I've had for a while, and I have a feeling I've been pulling it out of the pile, trying to see if I can make LARP kit out of it for several years now. I wonder if I could make a Victorian something. I don't know, the colours are pretty good, and I might just make something like generic-ish out of it. I really like the colour combo, and I like embroidered taffeta, and even if it is polyester, I think it would be... I'm deciding to keep a whole load of fabrics that I don't have a solid plan for. But that's okay. I figured I'm going to be doing a lot of video stuff now, which means that I think I'll be making a lot of stuff that I don't actually have a plan for. I'm just making it for the sake of video, and that's alright. This was a very inadvisable purchase. This is 5 meters of silk brocade, and it's that colour. From memory, this whole cut was like £100. That is actually really cheap for silk brocade, but also, this is £100. This is not a piece of fabric I forgot about. This fabric has been very much in the forefront of my mind for the 2 years that I have had it, because it's so extravagant. And I'm pretty certain now that what I want to make out of it is a bustle era tea gown / dressing gown. Yes, surprise, it's another dress for Adelaide. Basically, I want a ridiculous Victorian dress with not too much shaping in it, so I can use as much of the silk as possible, but is just going to be something ridiculously expensive and extravagant that I can spend mornings lounging in. While wearing a corset and bustle, obviously, because what are we, heathens? So that's staying. This is silk. This is this was another one from the Dwarf Queen project that I haven't quite turned into LARP kit yet, but I'm gonna. I think we can just accept that most of those silks are eventually becoming LARP kit. I wonder if I could put this in the workwear pile. No, I don't think I should put more silk in the workwear pile. That feels like a bad plan. No. Oh lord. Oh no. I feel bad about putting that in the no pile, but Oh god, no. Oh, this is an offcut from when I made my cloak. So this was a wool barathia that I machine washed and tumble dried so it felted. And I've kept this strip and I'm not sure why, but I'm also going to put it in the Waking Nightmare pile. This... no. No, 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 no. Oh boy. Okay, so on the one hand, horrible polyester. I was going to say chiffon, but it's more like a crepe. God, there's loads of it. And it's got stains on it. And it's horrible. I hate the feel of this. I'm going to put that in the no pile. Because I'm not going to use that. But I bet someone else will. This is a tiny remnant embroidered taffeta. And it's polyester taffeta. So it's not even worth it. Man, I love that colour though. Maybe. I should get rid of it. I don't want to. This is more silk. This is... I wonder what I thought I was going to make out of this. It's a really unusual colour choice for me, and I've chopped into it, and I think that was the lining on some sleeves that I chopped into it for. I mean, I'll use it. It's silk. There's a surprisingly large number of silks in this box. More of that home-boiled wool, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put it in the Waking Nightmare pile for now. I have this in another colour. That's another really nice silk. I will definitely use it for something. I have some more of this. It's that really lightweight black linen, and I have some more of this somewhere. Where did I put it? It'll be in one of the other boxes. I feel that's going to be a rummage later. Okay, I was about to throw this on principle because it's scraps of white muslin, and then I looked at the shape of some of the scraps of white muslin, and this is a chemise. This is a shift that I haven't finished making. Great question is, am I ever going to finish making it? It doesn't have underarm gauze. I'm going to put it in that pile, but I might throw it away. Maybe I'll finish it if I don't finish it in a reasonable amount of time. No. If I don't finish it in a reasonable amount of time, I'll just get rid of it. Oh, that's that. Okay. This is a good box. This is glorious. Not very much is the only problem. It's an amazing, like, gold copper tone silk. No idea what I'm going to make with it, but it's great. And it's silk. And it's like a metre and a bit, so I can make something. This is everything that was left from the... I made a 12th century blout. The medieval dresses with the long sleeves and the lace-up sides. I made one of them. I don't know why. I didn't have any reason to. Probably don't need this. No. Nice big bit of purple silk dupioni. 100% can use that. That's probably a really good match for some of the purples I was looking at earlier for an Adelaide dress. This was a kimono that I wore, and unfortunately it got damaged, but I loved the fabric, so I kept it for turning into something. It's like a really lightweight silk. I think that's going to go in the workwear pile just because stripes. It's another stripy kimono overcoat that I got and then realised that it wasn't a kimono. Not sure what I'll do with that. I almost put it in the workwear pile, but not quite. That is tiny. No, it's in fact a strip. Blue tulle. I was about to say, why do I have this? But I know why I have it, I just don't know why I kept it. That looks like another, feels like another wool blend suiting. It's apparently 3/4 of a yard, according to the tiny sticker I just found in a corner of it. I have no idea where I got this, I have no memory of it whatsoever. But it's going in the workwear pile because that's clearly what it is. This is another border printed quilting cotton. It's got a cute parade of pastel animals at the bottom. And originally I was going to make this into like a tiered skirt, because I was really into those at the time. I'm less into the tiered skirt look these days, and also I've made a tiered skirt out of quilting cotton, and it came out kind of stiff. So I think this might be another dress in the making. Maybe even another Lolita dress in the making. This is a rhinestone. Rhinestone's a bit rich. This is a glitter encrusted chiffon, and there is this much of it. I think this was a doll dress, but I never made it, and I never will. And then what's left in here I'm definitely going to keep because it's the end of a sari that I made. I made a dress out of this sari. I wasn't completely happy with it though. I wore it for my first ever LARP. And I was always going to go back and revisit it and redo it and maybe incorporate more of the decorative material into it, which I think I should do because it's beautiful. Maybe I should make that a video and that way I'll actually do it. Penultimate box. We're doing okay. So I vaguely feel like I had plans for everything in this box. Like this was my box of planned stuff, which entirely doesn't explain this enormous piece of purple poly satin. This is a time. There's so much of it. Oh my god. This was from a cosplay. It was left over from a cosplay. It was a terrible cosplay. I did an awful job on it. But it made me happy at the time. There is a lot of it. It's lavender. It's going in a maybe pile. As in, if I can think of something to do with it, I'll keep it because there's a lot of it. But if I can't, I won't, and I won't feel bad about that. This is a duvet set that I never used. I bought it and immediately unpicked it because I just loved the fabric. I was going to make an 18th century thing out of this. I remember being perturbed because there was this fabric, which I liked, but I liked this fabric more, and you got less of this than you did of the cameo, which was really annoying. I have no idea. I still really like it because it's like black on cream, which is a really solid colour, and it's cotton, which is really useful. I doubt there's enough to do the kind of 18th century thing I wanted to, but which isn't to say I couldn't do an 18th century thing. That's a tentative keep, but I think it's one of the ones I need to keep an eye on and make sure that I've used it in the immediate future. This is green polyester taffeta, which I'd already cut up to turn into an 18th century petticoat. So I'm going to put that in the unfinished projects pile and make it into an 18th century petticoat and then decide if I want to keep it or throw it away. I have quite a lot of this and I don't dislike it. It's an upholstery fabric, but it's got a satin stripe in it and it's a nice kind of caramelly dark cream. I'm pretty sure I want to do some kind of Victorian project in this, and I can't remember if it was like an 1870s elliptical hoop or a also 1870s but a different bit princess seamed gown, the kind with the what I think of as the collapsed bustle. Either of which would work. I mean, hell, I could make a bustle dress out of this. I could make a crinoline out of this. There's probably enough. I wouldn't be surprised if I've got, I think at minimum 6, maybe as much as 10 meters. It's not too heavy, so it would drape for a bustle. I'm going to hang on to it because a game will come up where I need a Victorian dress that I don't have anything for yet. I say that. I've said that really optimistically, and watch as every Victorian game for the next 10 years is an 1880s one. But I could make an 1880s dress out of this, so it's not inherently a problem. That stays. This stuff, why is that still in plastic? I wanted to make a sackback gown. It's cotton, which is sub-ideal, but I only had this is like 4 meters, I think. It was an end of roll or something. And I spent ages and ages and ages searching for a matching stripe so I could get another 4 meters and make a full sackback gown. And I got this stuff. So this is another 4 meters of narrow red striped cotton. And I don't think they... Oh, maybe they do. I'm not sure they completely match. I think they might be ever so slightly out, just because they're made by different people. I don't think that... I say that, from a distance you really can't tell. Cotton's not an ideal fabric for a sackback gown, but I really wanted the red and white stripe, and then I wanted to do red, white and blue accessories, and it was going to be my revolutionary gown, and I don't know why I never made it. I've had this a really long time. I mean, I know why I didn't make it when I first got the fabric, and it's because I'd never made one before and I was worried about messing it up. But I've made one now. I made a sackback gown years ago, which is the Countess, which is entirely made of black brocade. It's 10 metres of black curtain brocade. It's very goth. So I don't know why I never... Maybe I'll put it on the video list, and that way I need, like, basically have to make it, right? I'm so not sure these fabrics match, though. I think this one's a brighter red than this one, and I don't think the... I think the stripes are 1 millimetre out. I'm gonna have to think about that. But I think I should make it. I think I should make the thing. I think I should stop putting it off. This is the green fabric that I showed you, the blue fabric, hours, and in fact for me, days ago. It's pinked along the edges because I made some pocket hoops out of it. I was going to make something 18th century out of this. I don't think I still want to do that. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I really don't like this colour. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile, but I don't think it's going to stay there long. The maybe pile is getting out of hand. Oh my god. So, this is from the first cosplay I ever made. It's a blue polysuiting, which is not inherently problematic. I have so much of it. It's not a very nice fabric, is the only problem. I'm pretty sure I hung on to this just because I had so much. Like, that's the only explanation that I have, is that I just had so much of this that I must be able to make something out of it, but I don't think I want to. I'm gonna put it in the maybes, just because, like I said, I've got tons of it, which feels very weird. Like I said, I've had that fabric a really long time. There's loads of it. I could make something out of it. I could have made something out of it at any point during the last 13 years. I just didn't. And that's really sad. Some more scraps of the pink silk. I really need to make something out of that pink silk so it stops haunting me. Brown tulle. It's not even tulle, it's dress net. Oh, there's more of it than I thought. I made a skirt out of this many, many years ago. I think on my gap year, I did a pattern drafting course. I don't think I learnt a lot, but I made a skirt, and I made a skirt out of this material. And I don't have that skirt anymore. I think I hung on to this material in the vain hope that I was going to make a new one sometime. This is what I know as a ticking stripe, which is a woven stripe that appears kind of broken because it's only on the warp fabric. The warp... Yes, it's only on the warp, it's not on the weft. Maybe. That might get subbed into the workwear pile. I need to properly pull it out and look at it and see how much I've... Well, I found the underarm gauze. This is... Okay, I think this is just muslin. I have no idea anymore. These are either, and I'm going to have to take them out and unfold them properly, this is either just muslin or this is another cut out and not made up shift. I'm going to put it in the unfinished objects pile and I'm going to figure it out from there. I suspect I won't keep it. Piece of kimono silk. Ooh, very embroidered piece of kimono silk. I'm going to put that in the... I'm feeling it's synthetic, which is a shame, but I'm going to put that in the pile that is Mystery White Silk Project, because I think that if I'm ever going to use it for something, it's going to be that. This is a piece of gold satin which doesn't match the other gold satin that I have, I don't think. It's not a very big piece of gold satin either. Maybe cotton, probably a curtain fabric. Oh, it's got roosters in it. I'll be honest, I didn't like it until I spotted the roosters, and now I'm like, maybe. That'll go in the maybe pile. That's some more black broderie anglais, so I think we'll keep that because I think I kept the big panel from earlier. I don't even remember. This is pretty terrible. I'll keep that because I think that that might turn that broderie anglais panel into something usable. That's some more... That looks like side gauze, so I can't believe I've had... And they're muslin, which is like not the best fabric. But I guess I didn't know better when I was cutting those out. I'll make them anyway. Now, I want to throw these away, but glazed cotton is the correct thing to line Victorian dresses with. Like, I'm going to be making a whole bunch of Victorian dresses. They can stay for now, if I don't use them by the time I've done the next Gothic game. They'll go. Hot pink, gold foiled chiffon. There was a period in which I discovered gold foiled chiffon existed and I used it for everything. And I shouldn't keep this, but now I'm remembering that I'm playing Space Jeffree Star So I'm going to hang on to that for just a little bit longer. And if I haven't used it by the time that there's a lot of ultimatums going on here. If that doesn't get used for Space Jeffree Star, I should get rid of it. So I had this as well in black on black, and I used it for the Regenesis event just gone, and I really liked it. I've had these fabrics for a really long time. I got them to make dolls' clothes out of, but I really, really liked the effect of that black on black, see-through, layered over, I think in this case a gold satin, and that does say Space Jeffree Star to me. We're going to keep those for now. Oh, I really hope this one's in focus, and I honestly don't care if it isn't. Last box! Last box. From the side, I think this box has a lot of old works in progress in it, so this could be interesting. Oh, I remember I have this. So this is like a cotton muslin that I dyed forest green for a cosplay that I never made, and which is bad because it wasn't even for me. There's loads of this. I should make a LARP dress out of that. That would be perfect. So I needed a waistcoat's worth of brown brocade. So of course I bought 5 meters. I think there was actually a reason for this way back when. I don't still have that waistcoat. I should find that. I've got the waistcoat pattern. It was a really good fit. I should make that again. It was like one of the halter neck ones. But also I have all this brown brocade. Maybe Victorian, maybe generically fantasy. I don't know. It's nice though, I like it. This is... oh, this is a mess. Okay, I need to have a proper look at these and see if there's anything actually worth keeping, or if I don't think that tiny piece of leather is probably worth keeping. I might try and salvage some of this. These are leftover bits from saris that I made Regency dresses out of. I might try and salvage like this, but I'm not sure that this is worth salvaging, so that's gonna go on the maybe pile for a proper sort. This is in fact I can tell you exactly what it is. It's the 18th century redingote from Patterns of Fashion 1. It's all cut out. I have no idea if it's my size or if I just cut out exactly the thing that was in the book. It's made from some old like russet cotton velvet curtains. That is certainly a thing that exists. I should finish this. I should finish it. It won't take me very long. It's all cut out, and if it doesn't fit me, I can give it to someone else. Why would I cut a thing out and then just not make it? So I'm pretty sure I know instinctively why I would cut something out and then not make it 12 years ago, if not longer. And the answer is anxiety. Cutting the thing out is one thing entirely. Making it and then having to deal with whether or not it's terrible, that's hard. I feel like I should probably just make this now. Like, that's surely a video in and of itself, finishing a project I started 12 years ago. People like that stuff, right? So that's going in the works in progress pile. This, all of this, in fact, yes, all of this, and this. Gosh, look at these. These is where this bunch of scraps that I found earlier came from. And I was like, I'll see what kind of state it's in. This was going to be a frock coat, breeches and waistcoat 18th century combo, and I was trying to make this for LonCon 3, which was Worldcon when it was in London, the year that it was the weekend after the second ever 9 Worlds. Gosh, that's a really weirdly specific memory. I didn't finish it, as you can probably see. I vaguely remember I had massive fit issues. Principally that even though it was a men's cut pattern that I was using, because I was using, I think, a pattern out of Costume Close-Up for the frock coat, and it was just way too narrow across the shoulders for me. Because I'm small in the chest, but I'm broad. Comparatively. Compared to how big my rib cage is, my shoulders are really broad. So it was just way too short, because 18th century clothes do tend to push your shoulders right back, and my shoulders don't do that. That's a really weirdly specific memory of what was wrong with this project. I'm probably going to scavenge the grey to piece together to make that party coloured robe that I was thinking of. And then I'm going to look at the coat and waistcoat, if I kept the waistcoat, I don't even know that I did, and see if there's anything I can salvage out of it, whether I can refashion it somehow into some kind of, I don't know, maybe a jacket, or maybe like a women's 18th century bodice that's sort of menswear inspired. That could work. If not, I may just abandon this, because I'm not sure that this is a rescuable project, if I'm completely honest. Sometimes it goes that way, you know? But it's going to go in the work in progress pile. I had masses and masses of this gold satin, which again I think I bought for like £1 a metre, because there was just, it was on sale. And I had like 10 metres of the stuff. And I bought it for this project, but I actually finally used the rest of it. Oh my god, this is still pinned together. There's still pins in this. Anyway, this is something else that I'm going to have to lay everything out and see if I can rescue it. It was supposed to be a 1930s style evening dress, but with some fantasy twists. It was way beyond my skill level, which is why I think I never got past cutting it out, and probably cut out badly at that. To be honest, I'm not sure that my original design was even possible. It looked good on paper, but I was a lot more inexperienced about making and designing costumes, so I think I designed something which looked great, but just wasn't actually feasible. Like, sewing doesn't work that way. I suspect I won't be able to rescue this, but I'm gonna put it in the works in progress pile just in case, because I need to take everything apart and actually look at it. And I also need to go and deal with my cat, who is crying at the door downstairs because he wants to go out. Okay, cat is dealt with. We are almost there. These are knitted wings. As much as they don't look like them, they were supposed to be knitted fairy wings. I was going to put wires down them so that they rippled. I think those might just go. That doesn't belong in here. That is... oh, so I was making a dress? I wonder if the rest of the dress is in here. I hang on to it. Anyway, this was going to be the sailor style collar. I wonder if that's salvageable, and I wonder if the rest of the dress is in here, because I'm not actually sure what happened to that. This... oh dear. So, this was one of the striped fabric we looked at earlier. This was one of the striped red fabrics that I got and rejected because the stripes were all wrong. It looks like I started making something out of this. Yep, there is a needle still in this. It's not finished. It's so really not finished. Anyway, how have I put this away with a needle still in it? This was a Regency gown. That obviously seemed like a good idea at the time. That's the bodice. The needle's from where I was putting a casing in for the drawstring waist. I think this came up short on me. That's the sleeves, and then I think all of this is just offcuts. I think it came up short, and that was why I abandoned it. That, and I don't like Regency clothes. Oh man, I did French seams. I mean, it's not the worst length in the world. I could put a lace cuff on there and that would be alright. That one might have to go in the pile of take a look, maybe try it on, see if it still fits, and then take a rain check on whether or not it's worth finishing. I'll have to assess how much more work I think is going to go into that, because it's so close to being done it feels silly to ditch it right now, but equally I don't need a striped Regency dress. And I don't like playing Regency settings. I don't know, maybe I'll be able to salvage it into something more modern. Gosh, I really need to finish this. So this is a shirt. It was for my Dwarven Queen, or as I took to calling her, the Queen Under the Mountain. And I'm going to play a dwarf again, so I think I should finish it. I spent ages doing these. I've had this so long, there's a tiny dead spider in one of the seams. I spent absolutely ages, like ages, doing smocked sleeve tops. And then I ran out of materials basically, but I started doing this chainmail effect, sewing on the jump rings, and I was going to like really build this up, and then it's got narrow cuffs that I was equally going to do chainmail detailing all over, and it was going to like be this really kind of mixed feminine and warrior look, and it was going to be the base layer for this whole elaborate dwarven ensemble. I should absolutely finish this. It needs a hem, but other than that, it's structurally perfect. It's even got little underarm gauze. Look at me, I put underarm gauze in it. Yeah, definitely, I need to finish that. So this is the dress that I was talking about for the little sailor collar. It's silk backed with linen, and I think this was a self-drafted pattern. I wonder if it still fits me. I bet it doesn't. And I think I was pretty happy with the bodice, but the skirt just wasn't turning out the way I wanted. Oh yeah, it's got like a... It's longer in the back than in the front, which I know people hate, but I love it. Well, that time the battery gave out, so that's exciting. What was I talking about? I was talking about this dress. I think I should finish it. It's gonna need some... It needs a hem. It needs the skirt attaching to the bodice. The bodice needs finishing, and it needs some thinking about because it's got a... I've left space for a side zipper, and I don't know if that's actually what I want. I might not have a choice, to be honest. But I should finish this. There's no reason... I think it's really close to being finished. That's like a couple of hours work, which I think at the time I was making it, finishing it seemed really, really intimidating. But I'm just a lot more experienced now, and I actually think that this is kind of like an afternoon to put it back together. Oh, I really hope this is still in focus, because honestly at this point I don't care and just want it done. Here is more pirate. This, in fact, I believe is my attempt at a pirate crinoline. I had an elliptical crinoline, which I made ages and ages ago, and I wanted a round one, like not non-oval, or just a regular 1860s round one. But I couldn't find my crinoline pattern, so I decided to just freestyle it. And I didn't get very far with this, and it's probably for the best, because I don't think it would have been the right shape at all. I could probably still salvage it. I still do want to make. I still do need a round crinoline, because I only have an elliptical one. And I don't see any reason why I couldn't salvage this fabric out of it. So that's going to go there. And then the final thing is, and I do remember what this is. So this is another chemise, or a shift. I'd seen them done with where you finish the edges of all the pieces and then you overcast them together, and it's really like decorative. Only I don't think I'd quite grasped how they were doing that, so what I ended up with was making some crochet, sewing it down, which I don't like. I'll be honest now, I'm looking at it and clearly a lot of work went into this, but I don't like it at all. And it's going to be a bit of a puzzle to figure out which bit was which. Yeah, that's about right. They must have been the sleeves. And then that's the underarm gauze, and then that narrow strip must have been the neckline. So I think I can finish this, but I think I'm going to unpick all this weird crochet. I don't think I still have that yarn, so I don't think I could finish it that way if I wanted to, and I suspect I abandoned this because it was really fiddly and I didn't like how it was coming out. So I think I'll unpick that. What I'll probably do is either overcast them on like the examples I was looking at, or I will use a lace insertion. I don't know if I have enough of any particular lace insertion to actually pull that off, but we can see. So yeah, I think that is a finishable project. I just think that I need to strip it down and undo a whole bunch of work that I did. But it was a whole bunch of work that I did like 5 years ago, so really who cares? I have a horrible feeling that that was actually to go under a Renaissance dress made of green polyester sari and velvet that I still haven't finished. I've had it for years and I've not finished it. So I should finish that. Gosh, this has been a voyage of discovery. Anyway, I'm going to pack all this away, and then what I should do is go through my maybe pile and try and make a decision. I'm not 100% whether or not that's going to happen today, and to be honest, I am tired of filming this, so we're going to call this video done now. We're done. We're over. I have my next couple of projects. This is becoming its own, like its own beast, this pile of sort of 1940s / vintage workwear. I've got a whole bunch of old works in progress that I'm going to have to sink some time into figuring out whether or not they're feasible. Hopefully that will be a short burst of time figuring out whether it's feasible and then either finishing the project and having something I'm happy with, or just cutting my losses and throwing it out. And I reckon there's about a box full of stuff that I just don't need and I'm not going to keep. Thank you for sticking around for what I'm sure was a terribly long and kind of boring video. I promise I won't be doing this again for a really long time. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and support me on Ko-fi if you want me to not make more of these. I'll see you next time.